sweaty. Still wake up, take a look to the sky. Still lay down, I can't stop till I die. So much pain, but I stopped asking why. I stopped asking why. I do what I do, while you pussy still try. You must catch right when you look in my eyes. I'ma take flight, catch me gone in the sky. They still won't do the fucking vibe. Bitch, you're sweaty from the cut, no surprise. I came through with a cut that's the size of you. Stuck to the money like it's super glue. I don't fuck with animals, straight out the zoo. Stand by myself, I ain't came with a crew. I am no one, no, I can't be the two. I'm risky as hell from drinking this booze. You fucking with me, then your ass bound to lose.
You can see the pain in my eyes, hear the pain in every line I'm trying.
Start that over. Start that bitch all the way over. Only want to hear my verses right now. Only want to hear my verses.
Still wake up, take a look to the sky. Still lay down, I can't stop till I die. So much pain, but I stopped asking why. I stopped asking why. Do what I do, while you pussy still try. You must catch right when you look in my eyes. I'ma take flight, catch me gone in the sky. They still won't do the fucking vibe. Bitch, you're sweaty from the cut, no surprise. I came through with a cut that's the size of you. Stuck to the money like it's super glue. I don't fuck with animals, straight out the zoo. Stand by myself, I ain't came with a crew. I am no one, no, I can't be the two. I'm risky as hell from drinking this booze. You fucking with me, then your ass bound to lose. You can.
Okay, and I said, now, okay, we back in the motherfucking building with the pack and the ceilings and okay, we back. Schwetzy in the building. Welcome back to the communication station. This is the second live stream of the day. We're grinding today. I'm kind of on one today. I don't know why. I kind of just woke up on one today. For like, usually it kind of take me a couple minutes to do some things before I actually start getting into shit in the morning times and shit like that, or in the rising times and shit like that. So now I'm in a position where today I woke up on one, bro. I ain't have to wake up and scroll on my phone. I ain't have to wake up and fucking do this ritual to get me in this type of feeling or nothing like that. I just came straight on the shit and got online. So we left for a little while, came back, did some shit as far as editing and shit like that. I had to go to town for a little bit. So now we back. I was just thinking about some shit as I was out and about running some errands today. You know what I'm saying? So boom, this is the communication station. Schwetzy in the building. It's your boy. We back in this bitch, and we today we talking about karma and generational curses, and the karma that you might be receiving because of the generational curses that you dealing with from your fucking bloodline and what you want to call your family at the moment and shit like that. And so that's what we on today. That's what we talking about in this video. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to get out of this shit. I'm gonna teach you guys how to recognize this shit. I'm gonna teach you guys how to not be caught up in this energy no more, to where you acting out a character just based on your bloodline and shit. So the first thing that we need to break down before we even start breaking down the shit, because you're not gonna be able to really get a totality perspective or recognize this shit or do anything if you don't know how you got here in the first place, right? So as a spirit, right, you started getting attracted to certain lights and shit like that. And you started being able to influence your parents to think and feel in certain ways and attract themselves to each other and shit like that. That way your ass could be born. So therefore, we need to have the understanding that we was resonating with certain characters, certain lights, certain frequencies and vibrations before we even came here. And that's the reason that we was able to be born in a certain family. And what y'all need to understand too is, a lot of times the energy that you are up under as far as a family or a bloodline, majority of the time, that ain't even shit that is correlated to your true character. That's why it pretty much in every family, you got the black sheep who don't abide by and don't correlate to what the family be on. You get what I'm saying? Like every family got that extremely flunked out motherfucker who might be a crackhead and shit like that, and then every family got the black sheep. Even if these people are sober, got their life together and all that shit, they just don't jive with the family dynamic and shit like that, and how people try to create hierarchy based on how long you've been alive and shit like that, and just a bunch of different things. You get what I'm saying? So it's always one person in the family who's on that type of timing. So y'all need to realize that. And if you're not that person, you know, certain situations you might even need to strive to be more like that person, be more like an individual instead of just falling up under the family dynamic and shit like that. So y'all need to take this shit into consideration. And what I'm saying is, the reason why every family have that is because 9 times out of 10, whenever you're a spirit, you're only creating those lights, you're only resonating with those lights, you're only resonating with those frequencies and vibrations or relating to them in some type of way, not because you want to or because that's part of your true character. It kind of is a want, but it's not always because it's a part of your true character. Sometimes we have to make certain sacrifices and sign certain contracts and agree to certain terms and conditions just that way we can live again. Like, a lot of people just be wanting to live again down here in the third dimension and shit, like really badly and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it be situations where you born into a family that ain't nothing like you, and that's the reason why. It's because they don't correlate to your true character, your true state of being. This was just some contract that you had to sign, and you had to abide by certain conditions and agree to certain terms and conditions and agree to be raised up in this certain type of way. Like, you already knew what type of traumas you was going to go through and what you was going to deal with by involving yourself with these parents before you even come here. You get what I'm saying? You know what their capabilities and incapabilities are, and what areas they fuck up in, and what type of shit they do behind closed doors that might impact you in some type of way. So you was already aware of all this shit before you even came here. So you agreed to these terms and conditions to be born up under this family, even if it don't correlate to your character, and to have a certain type of childhood and have a certain type of upbringing. But it's not like for life. That's where a lot of people be getting shit fucked up. If it's a super unaware spirit who doesn't know these type of things and isn't able to recognize that, okay, my family is not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't resonate with me on a true level like that. Like, this might not even necessarily really be my soul family and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? A lot of y'all can't recognize this shit. So you take those terms and agreements that you agree to, those contracts that you sign right before you was born, and you make it like a lifelong contract to the point where you can't ever get out of it. You always just acting out in these characters and these frequencies and vibrations and these golems that have been constructed through your family bloodline. So you always acting that shit out, even though you don't want to, and even though it's bringing you suffering in some type of way, but you still continuously doing it because you're not able to be aware, and you thinking based on third dimensional means of how people try to convince you that family is all you have and you got to stick by your family and shit like that. And don't get it fucked up. Like, I got a good relationship with most of my family members. Like, I'm not speaking on this out of me being a person who's just totally disconnected from my family and don't give a fuck about them. I'm just saying, necessarily, you got to know how to deal with people. You get what I'm saying? And that also goes into knowing who you are as well. That way you're not acting out on these characters. And this is the thing. This is how you're going to be able to recognize it. Okay. Whenever you're going through certain situations, peep game of your family and your siblings. You get what I'm saying? Peep game of your family and your siblings. That way you can know what's going on and what you picking up from the family bloodline and shit. Because a lot of y'all be paying off karma that ain't even y'all's through your family bloodline, and be going through catastrophic situations due to shit like that. And also, a lot of y'all be dealing with generational curses. So you still be acting out in characters and in ways that ain't necessarily you. You get what I'm saying? So how you going to recognize this is you're going to go through situations and you're going to peep game from your siblings, peep game from your family, peep game from shit like that. Like those situations that I talked about before in my other karma video breakdowns, those times whenever you're alone completely by yourself and you're interacting with a completely new environment, and you do some weird shit, or you do some shit that's out of character, and you be sitting back wondering, like, why the fuck did I do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is not me at all. Why did I do that? That's why you picking up a lot of shit from a lot of karma, whether you paying off through a bunch of learning experiences or a bunch of tower moments and shit like that, or it's just a generational curse that's still making you act out in certain ways. So even when you come into a new environment, you've been influenced by your family upbringing and your bloodline, ancestral shit, which as far as what they call ancestors, when we're talking about people that was born in your family bloodline before you got here and shit. So you still dealing with that shit. So whenever you go and act out in certain ways, it'd be confusing to you and you don't understand why you would act out in that way. And you kind of even feel like you didn't have no control in that moment or some shit like that of your own self. And that's not a place that you ever want to be at. You get what I'm saying? So that's what you need to realize. You be dealing with generational curses a lot of the time. And don't be a narky individual thinking that every situation that occur where you just being a dumbass and being an asshole or being anything that it's just automatically some generational curses that you're dealing with. Don't be a narky individual. That might be your own character flaws that got nothing to do with your family timeline, your family bloodline and shit like that. We got many situations that occur here down on this earth, and there's a lot of influences that people be up under, and there's a lot of things that people be dealing with. So we got to understand this shit when we dealing with generational curses and shit. Don't be a narc and think that you picking up shit from your family bloodline, knowing damn well that's being you the whole time, and you just evil motherfucker or some shit. You get what I'm saying? And like I said, I just taught y'all how to recognize it when the shit happened. So I'm gonna show y'all how this shit play out, and that way you can recognize it even deeper. It be that shit that you be doing when you alone that you questioning about and wondering why you doing it, and you feeling like you having no control. But at the same time, it's also situations where it could be something that's like really evil too. So don't get it fucked up and think that you needed to be evil, like start trying to justify some shit and thinking that you needed to be evil in certain situations and shit like that. This is how you gonna actually beat the karma of getting back on it and shit. Like, don't try to justify it and don't feel guilty about it. You know what I'm saying? Because we can express some super evil shit sometimes, but it just be something that's completely tied up in our family bloodline. And like I said, you're going to be questioning it, wondering why. But if you actually like start to develop a relationship with your family, even if y'all aren't relating on truly authentic levels and shit like that, if you start developing a relationship with your family, you can actually start to see this shit play out in real time. Those certain characteristics and traits that you were exhibiting and playing out in a certain period of your life that you didn't necessarily agree with, and it felt like you wasn't really in control of it and shit like that. It felt like that influence was just controlling you at the moment, and you acting out and that character was controlling you at the moment. Pay attention to that, because you'll notice when you develop a strong relationship with your family and shit like that, you will start to notice them playing out those exact same characteristics and traits. You get what I'm saying? So that's how you, boom, you catch it right there. That's how you realize, like, oh fuck, that's something that's like deeply ingrained in the bloodline. That's not even because me and this person have the same zodiac sign, even if they're my sibling or some shit like that. That's not because of us relating on this certain type of level. That's not because of this certain other type of thing, whatever excuse or justification that you're going to come up with in your mind. A lot of times it be because of the generational curse. And that's why you be acting out in certain ways. It's something that's deeply ingrained in your bloodline. And that's the thing too, a lot of times with this shit, because you are a person, if you're already like observing shit like this, you're a person who already kind of has a little bit of equilibrium. Like, you kind of already know how to balance shit out a little bit. You can kind of see these things. So therefore, you will be a person who will exhibit these characteristics and traits, but it'll be at much of a lesser percentage level. It'll be much of a lesser scale than the people who actually are deeply like ingrained in these generational curses and are deeply influenced by them through the bloodline. You get what I'm saying? You're a person who kind of already has the equilibrium. So whenever you're acting some shit out, you're already acting it out on more of a balanced scale. So even if it's something that's like deeply evil or maybe misunderstood in some type of way, or just ain't right for you and shit like that, a lot of times you be acting it out on much of a smaller percentage level and not so much of an extreme level. But you'll start being around your siblings and shit like that, and they exhibit the same characteristics and traits, or just your family bloodline in general, they exhibit the same characteristics and traits. You see it's the same character, you see it's the same characteristic and traits, but you see that they acted out on a much more extreme level, to the point where your sibling might even get arrested, or your sibling might even get some type of negative repercussion or some type of backlash from acting out in that, because they're doing it completely on a polar shift, and it's not more balanced. They're acting it out on a much more extreme level. How as opposed to you approaching that situation, you would approach it with much more equilibrium and balance, even if you feel like it's out of your control right now and you feel like you don't have control over that influence at the moment. Just by you being in that space by default, you already going to be acting shit out on more of a balanced level. So don't get caught up. You know what I'm saying? Just peep game, just be able to peep game from your situations and from your family and shit like that, because you're going to exactly see what I'm talking about, and you're going to exactly see how they're much more deeply influenced by it, and they're much more like deep rooted and ingrained in that society, family. You know what I'm saying? That they're in the same type of category with that shit, so they're deeply ingrained to it. So it's the same way on the other shit. You see people who are deeply ingrained into society and shit like that, whenever they be acting out certain characteristics and traits that have been put in place for them by society, by the people who run society, the people who really run society and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? They'll act it out on a much more stronger percentage level. Like for example, if it's a person who's deeply ingrained into society, they could be your human resources person at your job or some shit like that, and they take it to like extreme level. Or they could be the CEO of a company, but they take it to extreme level. You get what I'm saying? So all the people who are under them, who are not as deeply ingrained into society as them, on that type of level, they'll be super assholes to them, and they'll be super dicks to them and shit, and always be trying to order people around and like flex their authority on you and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? That's how you can see that shit in real life. So that if you've worked a job and you've been through certain situations like this, and you already know that you don't correlate to society as much, you see this shit in real time. So that already right there is just proof of what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's all up under the same type of category. It all come back to the same type of character. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's expressed in similar type of ways. That's why you have to peep game of this shit. That's why you actually have to go through experiences and do shit that you maybe not even necessarily want to do at the moment to do that. You get what I'm saying? To realize that, to see these things play out in real time. You know what I'm saying? And start disconnecting from society and start detaching from certain things. And when I say disconnecting from society, I don't mean go into the woods, be a fucking nature boy, and live in a fucking hut in the middle of the wilderness somewhere. Like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like mentally and emotionally, the way that you act out, the way that you carry yourself throughout the world, the characters that you're presenting, the characters that you're creating and constructing based on shit that you want to do, based on shit that is true to you, not based on you trying to please the society at the moment, or you trying to please and maintain an image for someone else who wants you to work this job or wants you to have your life together as far as what it looks like from a third dimensional perspective. You get what I'm saying? Act it out in a different type of way. You can still be doing the exact same things. You can still go and get a job. You can still go to college. You can still go and do all these things. There's many people who I know personally who do these type of things, and they're on the same type of tip that I'm on. You get what I'm saying? But still they attend college, or still they go and work at this certain type of job, or go down this certain type of career path. You get what I'm saying? So you can use the tools of society while being outside of society. It might not just be as easy for you. Like some people who are like deeper into the societal part of shit, they kind of get a little bit more leeway, a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? That's why, like, for example, police officers, like these be the ones who be brainwashed the most. These be the ones who be really deeply rooted into this shit and maintaining images for other people and caring about other people's opinion and shit like that so much. That's why police officers get so much leeway within this shit. You get what I'm saying? That's why if a police officer get caught with drugs, like for example, there's a police officer in my town, the town that I live in right now. There's a police officer that's been a meth head back since I was like fucking 12, 13 years old, actually. Yes, back since I was like 12, 13 years old. Like she's been caught with drugs more than once. She's failed drug tests for fucking methamphetamines. I could get it if it was some weed. Like you deserve some leeway if it's some weed. But you a police officer and you smoking fucking straight dope, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this person is like chief of police now. Maybe not necessarily chief of police, but she has like a higher ranking position. You get what I'm saying? Because they're willing to work with these type of people, even if they make flunky mistakes and shit like that. mentally and emotionally, they're more deeply ingrained in the society. They're playing out the right type of characters at the right type of time. So they're going to give them more leeway. They're going to allow them to make certain mistakes. You get what I'm saying? But if it was you, you know that you outside of society, you're not really into it like how other people are. You make one little tiny fractionary mistake, everybody ready to cut ties with you, everybody ready to give up on you, everybody ready to, you know what I'm saying? That's how this shit play out. You just need to balance out your relationships with people though, and you'll kind of get a better get back and a little bit more ease of situation with things like this. You get what I'm saying? But this is how that shit play out. This is exactly how this shit play out. Like everything I've just told y'all, I've given y'all fucking 100,000,000 examples. Like what I'm saying is true right now. So don't get lost in the karma from your family and your bloodline and the generational curses of your bloodline and start thinking that you need to do certain things. You get what I'm saying? Don't think that you need to do certain things. You don't need to please these motherfuckers. You're my family. If we're family, you're supposed to be happy with me regardless. Whatever it is that I want to do, whatever mistake that I make, you should be, yeah, keep it real with me and be like, yeah, that's a mistake. Like you need to do something else. But if it's some worldly shit, I ain't even going to listen to your stupid ass. You get what I'm saying? But you get what I'm saying? Just be actual fucking family, dog. Like y'all motherfuckers be fake as shit. I'm tired of it. And I ain't talking about my family right now. Certain individuals I am, but fucking for the most part I ain't. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all motherfuckers just don't be fake whenever you dealing with your family and shit like that. Like keep it real, man. Y'all motherfuckers be even afraid to speak up and shit like that. Like you be having all type of jealousy and envy dealing with fucking weird ass shit. Yeah, y'all don't even know, man. And it's all from the bloodline. And if you got siblings that have different parents, like your siblings have a different dad than you or a different mom than you or some shit like that, you can peep certain shit that come from that other half of the bloodline. That shit that ain't even a part of you, and you even might even get into a situation where you wondering why the fuck does my sibling do that type of shit? Why do they do that type of weird shit and shit like that? But it's because of that other bloodline. You get what I'm saying? It's because of that other family tree that's influencing them to act out in that other type of way. So if you're a person who's deeply ingrained in your family bloodline, that shit would be just confusing or goofy or dumb to you. You get what I'm saying? It's dumb. Everything's dumb to me anyways. But you get what I'm saying? Like if a person is just fully like third dimensionally fixated, like they only see things through these two eyes, they don't have any deeper levels of understandings and shit like that, you would be like, what's up with them? You know what I'm saying? Like what, like, you know what I mean? What the fuck is up with them and shit like that? All confused and shit. That's why. It's because they getting that influence from the other bloodline. They playing out certain characters that been plaguing that bloodline since the fucking early BC days and shit like that. So y'all got to rectify that shit. Balance it out. Stop acting out in those certain type of characters and shit like that. That's how you balance it out. Stop acting out in those type of characters. Recognize it and cut it off before you allow yourself to act out in those manners. That way you can recognize it. That way when you start even thinking and feeling a certain way before you even start coming out your mouth, you already know that those thoughts and feelings, those frequencies and vibrations are correlated to that character that you're trying to stay away from. So you'll redirect that shit immediately and start thinking about something that's more prosperous, something that's more in tune with you, something that's more trying to get you to where you going and shit like that. Fuck what they talking about. You get what I'm saying? Fuck what they talking about. Like, and a lot of y'all just be on dumb shit anyways. Like all y'all motherfuckers want to do is sit around and talk about drama all day. And don't get me wrong, I like having my tea every once in a while. And certain situations do need to be spoke about. That way we can recognize what family members is fucking really flunked out at the moment and shit like that. Like certain situations do call for y'all talking about certain shit. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of motherfuckers' families just be sitting around talking about bullshit all the day. And y'all know this. You get what I'm saying? Motherfuckers, anybody who's in a family who don't really feel the love and don't feel the vibes and don't really resonate with that shit, like you already know, these motherfuckers should be talking about dumb shit all day. You ain't trying to be a part about. Like, oh, did you hear about Auntie fucking Carol and Steve and all this shit? Like, bro, don't nobody give a fuck about that. She ain't even make a mistake. That motherfucker was beating on her ass or something. Like, don't nobody want to hear that shit. Like, don't nobody want to hear about your mom being a fucking whore for back in the fucking 60s and 70s and shit. Like, don't nobody want to hear about this shit. Why is we talking about it? That's why I just remain silent majority of the time. Like, Y'all don't even be noticing that shit though. But we just talking about like fucking families that I've seen though. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. 25-minute breakdown. That's karma and generational curses and how the fuck to get out of it. Don't sit here and continuously be caught in this cycle, because it ain't gonna bring you nothing. You gonna make your children suffer through the same upbringing that you had. You don't want that, do you? And if you do, you're fucking stupid. Because I know, like, some people had good upbringings, don't get me wrong and shit, but majority, even if you had a upbringing that appeared good, you always had a place to stay, you always had food in your belly, you always had this and that, and a little PSP pocket fucking Game Boy Advance to carry around and shit. If you always had that shit, y'all know that y'all wasn't catered to mentally and emotionally for the most part. Like, people didn't tell you how to correlate your mentality and your emotions and shit like that, and take care of these things and take care of your children, your internal children and shit like that, because they didn't know how to do it. So you already know what's up. Now, if you want to do the same thing and neglect your children in that type of way, that's on you. And you do whatever the fuck you got to do. I hear you, but that ain't the route that I'm on. And anybody who's trying to get away from that shit, this is the type of shit you need to be watching. You need to put this shit into action, put it into physical means, put it into the world and shit like that. Don't be acting out in the same old fucking lost ass, old and outdated characteristics that got your family here to being broke in the first place, to being in suffering in the first place. And even if y'all are rich as fuck, you still suffering in the first place. You get what I'm saying? This is the same shit that brought your family here to being on their knees like that. You don't, like, what do you expect? You're acting out in the same characteristics and traits that your parents and all these people were acting out in. Even if, like, you trying to slow it down a little bit and make it not happen as often. You get what I'm saying? You still allowing that shit to happen on a certain level. What do you think you're going to get from that? You're going to get the exact same thing that your parents got. So if your parents are not people that you genuinely actually want to be like, you need to recognize this shit and you need to cut it off immediately. You get what I'm saying? That way you can be you. You know what I'm saying? That way you can be, you need to be you regardless. You know what I'm saying? But we can learn some shit from our parents and shit like that. So don't get it fucked up. But anyway, that's the end of the video. I'm out of here. Peace.